Does nature tolerate empty spaces? Absolutely not. This is one of the oldest principles in science, going all the way back to Aristotle, who famously said, "Nature abhors a vacuum." But this isn't just some dusty old philosophical idea. It's a fundamental law of ecology. Think about it. If there's a resource just sitting there in a field, be it food, space, or a safe place to hide in, no one is actively using it. Something will eventually move in to fill that gap. An empty space is basically an open invitation. Let's imagine a natural landscape. In this territory, you have a population of deer. They are perfectly adapted, living in balance and harmony with their environment. They know where to find food, how to avoid danger, and how to survive the changing seasons. They are a functional part of this ecosystem. Now, let's introduce some other animals into this same territory. Bulldogs, dachshunds, and poodles. These aren't natural predators or wild animals. They are domesticated species, highly dependent on others for survival. They don't hunt for their own food, they don't defend their territory from real threats, and they rely on getting leftovers like bones or scraps and external protection to survive. As long as someone is providing those leftovers, and as long as there's a fence or a house to keep real predators away, this little arrangement seems to work. But it's an artificial balance, propped up by outside help. So, what happens when we let the laws of nature take over? Conditions in the wild are never stable. They always change. Sooner or later, the external resources might dry up. The handouts stop. A harsh winter sets in. Competition for the little food that's left becomes intense, and real pressures emerge: cold, hunger, and perhaps a real predator that wanders into the area. When this happens, nature doesn't punish anyone. It's not cruel or malicious. It simply filters. The system automatically selects for what works and filters out what doesn't. And who remains after this filtering process? The ones who are functional, the ones who can adapt to the new reality. In this case, the deer, who have always been self-sufficient, will likely endure. This brings us to what we might call the fate of the poodles, looking at it from a purely objective, natural standpoint. According to the strict laws of ecology, without that external protection and the steady supply of leftovers, a poodle simply cannot survive on its own in the wild. It isn't equipped for it. It can exist happily when it's being cared for, but it doesn't control its environment or have the skills to make a living from it. So, when the environment becomes harsh and unforgiving, the poodle disappears from the equation. This isn't because nature has some grudge against poodles. It's not a moral judgment on their worth. It's just a matter of ecology. They're incompatible with the demands of that environment. And this is the most important takeaway from all of this. Nature doesn't hate, it doesn't punish, and it doesn't argue. It's an impartial system. It simply replaces what is empty or non-functional with something that is active and adapted. Wherever there's a vacuum of strength, a lack of responsibility, or a failure to adapt, something else will always rise to fill that space. It's a constant, powerful, and unstoppable process of replacement and renewal. It's not about good or bad. It's about what works and what doesn't. Thanks so much for watching. If this gave you something to think about, be sure to like and subscribe for more.